Ladies and gentlemen, good morning and welcome to a Monday morning edition of Toxic Happy Hour. Today we are joined by our good friend Adam, aka Denver, an energy expert and mining expert coming out of somewhere in the middle of US, as far as I know. Another great day, another great Monday, another bullish news for Bitcoin this time in the energy sector, coming straight out of Norway, our fellow Vikings up there. So Denver, Pubby, good morning to you guys. Before we get started, and maybe Denver, you tell us about the news from your perspective. What are you guys drinking?
I've got an Arnold Palmer here, a little iced tea lemonade.
Nice, Pubby.
Yeah, I have my standard pale ale, of course, ready to roll. It's morning out there for you, obviously afternoon for me. And welcome to all. This time always works out for us, Adam, the best, because it was great. 2 p.m. Eastern time is roughly, I think, 7 p.m. in London, 8 p.m. Paris, and I think even Amsterdam. So our European friends can jump in too. It's a great time.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, and I think there's huge European bullish news here today, right? That's what we're talking about.
Let's hear it, Denver. So, in your words, what's the news? Then we'll discuss it. From what little Pubby and I have picked up. But what's the story?
Well, I mean, this is it, right? I mean, this is the very beginning of what we're going to see this decade. I mean, I think, what parts of the decade will we see it the strongest? I don't know, but it seems 2021 is going to be the year of, energy producers specifically, but people really going out and leveraging the Bitcoin network to bring stranded energy to market. And I think that's probably, I'm speculating here, but when it comes to an energy producer making a move like what Aker did today, right, with their Seetee kind of spin-off company that they are having focused toward Bitcoin, I think this is just the very beginning, because the Bitcoin network is an energy consumption market, right? Any miner will tell you that it's just a matter of, it's a constant place on the internet where you can sell electricity and you'll be rewarded for it, in real time, if you will. And so I think what we're seeing is the very beginning of these energy producers, these, the really ambitious, the guys that are looking to be the most efficient and they're looking to produce for the next, 5 decades. They're going to leverage this tool. And so they're taking a serious look at it. And I think some of them are coming back and saying, yeah, like we're going to do this. We're going to allocate a bunch of funds. We're going to allocate a bunch of brain power, and we're going to go, integrate this into the way in which we produce energy and we operate our business. And that's what I'm seeing, talking with guys in the oil field every day. So, I mean, it's really cool to see, because for me, I talk to guys, I hear their excitement. I mean, I can almost hear their wheels turning on the phone. Right. But when it goes out into the news and everybody feels it, it's kind of like vindication. It's a check that the reality I'm living is actually, happening out there.
The simulation is coming through.
Exactly.
Pubby, this simulation that right now that we're living is just like so awesome. Like it couldn't almost possibly be better with being able to watch a 1 in 3 millennia event, which is a new money taking over as money of the world. Pubby, how do you see what's going on? What's your take on energy giant Aker starting up a Bitcoin focused company called Seetee?
Yeah, what's been great, since December, or really probably since August, is every day, man, it's a new company. It's a new area of the world that comes in, be it from finance, be it from whatever that's coming into Bitcoin. The energy stuff we talked about with Denver once before, and we had Greg Foss on recently, and damn, I mean that show in itself is enough for him to talk about credit. So I'm looking forward where we get Adam here and Greg on, where we do just a full energy show, because this is where I think it's one of the most misunderstood areas. And especially when it comes to the FUD that is put out about it. But it was cool to see, another company going in. I thought it was interesting that, it's not the company itself, but they're just starting their own sort of Bitcoin wing, which I think is interesting. Many other companies start to do that. They don't necessarily have to put their holdings from their own side in, but yeah, they're gonna start this Bitcoin side of things. But yeah, why not? I was interested to ask Adam. I mean, do you have like do you have your thoughts on what type companies and locations in the world would start on this? Because it's always interesting, like where's the cheap energy for one was always going to be the first one.
Well, I think there's, first of all, I mean, there's a lot of stranded energy, right? Just countless, almost seemingly endless amounts of it. But I think the lowest hanging fruit, some of it is in oil and gas, right? I think flare gas specifically is some of the lowest hanging fruit, just because of the fact that, you know, it's deliberate waste. There's something explicit about just having a giant flare in your oil field. And now being able to bring that to market, I think that's like kind of the most practical application. I think that's potentially the biggest kind of market, the fastest to move. And so where is their flare gas? I mean, all over the world. But certainly Nigeria is one thing that is worth keeping in mind, because, you know, not only did they have I think it was the Women's March that, you know, got shut down by all the banks. They weren't allowed to have a bank account. So they began adopting Bitcoin, you know, socially, culturally, because of this, you know, these monetary restrictions. But on the other side, Nigeria's got so much flare gas. I mean, I'm not sure they have as much as, you know, North America or the US, but it's still massive amounts. But I think that's what we're going to see is, you know, the further upstream you go, and by upstream, I mean the closer to the primary energy source. So, you know, all the way to the dam, like where the electricity is being produced because of the flowing water, or to the wellhead where there's actual flare gas. The further you go upstream, the more economic and the more practical it becomes, right? So I think the furthest upstream guys are going to be the ones we see moving first. And that's what we're seeing, right? We saw it with Equinor back, you know, last year. That's an oil and gas giant. We're seeing it now with you know, these guys out of, you know, I think all of Europe has a lot of oil and gas. They've got a lot of heavy restrictions on flaring. I'm not real privy to it, but there's still a lot of oil and gas production all throughout Europe. And so, you know, it makes sense, right? It's an environmentally more friendly way to produce oil and gas. And, you know, Bitcoin mining is gonna try to seep into all upstream energy production areas. The problem we're gonna have right now is we don't have enough ASICs. I mean, the ASIC industry can't support a whole bunch of energy giants coming on this year. It's just, it's not going to work. These energy giants are going to either have to figure out a way to produce their own hardware, or, I mean, they're going to have to partner up or co-opt something because the production isn't there today. So interesting to see how these guys plan on getting computers, right? How much they end on spending trying to get hardware, because some guys are paying through the nose today.
Right. For the energy, absolutely. But and normally most mining today, they have to buy it from the energy producer. So what we're looking at is more and more producers say we'll just mine Bitcoin ourselves. It's for low cost energy. It's the most profitable thing to do, I guess. But I just want to, you know, a little bit more explain what happened, since both of you absolutely did manage to do that. Kidding. But yeah, so this Aker company, which I believe is the second, you know, could be the second largest energy producer in Norway. Norway is a tiny country, even smaller population than Denmark, and that says a lot. I think there's about 5 million Norwegians. They do, however, have a massive amount of oil for such a small country. Actually, it goes back to and this will explain to you the dangers of alcohol. Goes back to a Danish foreign minister like 3-4 decades ago that was negotiating with the Norwegians where the line in the underground, you know, undersea should be drawn, the border between Denmark and Norway. And there's a normal way of doing it, which would have given Denmark a lot more of the sea. But this Danish foreign minister actually got really drunk that evening and ended up just like handing over most of it to Norway. But that's a side story. And you know, so yeah, this company, huge energy giant in Norway, Aker, have a lot of money. I believe it's maybe owned by the second richest Norwegian guy, Kjell Inge Bjørneby, I think. And they decided to create Seetee, SEETEE, funding it with 500 Norwegian crowns, which is, I guess, roughly similar to 50-60 million dollars or something. And this daughter company's sole focus is to buy Bitcoin, invest in Bitcoin, get involved in Bitcoin mining, working with Bitcoin analytics. They've done some work together with, or started some kind of partnership with Blockstream, which is founded by Adam Back, one of the real true OGs that actually invented Cash, which I believe is one of those 4 legs of technology that the Bitcoin blockchain is built upon. One of those legs that Satoshi took in. So yeah, one of the first things they do is they convert all of their dirty fiat Norwegian crowns, around $50 million to Bitcoin, because as they say, look, it's super liquid and it's a better store of value than dirty fiat.
Well, I think that's an important point. Wasn't it 100% of their cash holdings, like their treasury holdings?
Yeah.
Okay. So I mean, like, that's math. It's not like they're holding $1 billion and they put 58 million in, like, Square did or whatever. I mean, they moved 100%. I mean, that's a big move. That tells me, that speaks volumes, right? I think. And so, I'd be curious to see, and I'd love to hear, Greg Foss's take, because, Greg Foss and what they're doing is kind of at a little bit of a different scale, and you could even call it kind of a different operation setup than, what we're doing at Upstream. But obviously, it's, at the end of the day, it's the same process. But it'll be interesting to see how Seetee, that spinoff company, ends up, tackling mining Bitcoin, because it's likely, and again, I'm speculating here, I'm not real privy, but it's likely that they're already providing electricity to the grid, so right, I mean, I got to imagine that they're already combusting gas and generating electricity, and probably what they're finding is that they have a lot of loss in that electricity production, and so Bitcoin mining just makes sense. It's another market, and what they'll find is they'll be able to leverage their natural resources, a lot better. So yeah, I think, I'm sure a lot more will come out of this. And I think, like I said, I think a lot more companies are going to come out and be saying this. Nobody wants to be, announcing after Tesla and announcing before Tesla. It's almost like a rite of passage. It's a litmus test of whether or not you're a fast, agile, and company that's with the times, So like, I think some of these energy producers are kind of rushing. I mean, I'm talking to a lot, like I said, and it's a slow process. They don't make decisions fast, right? I imagine these guys started this process, probably over 12 months ago, to actually spin off this company, allocate all this money. Like, I don't think they just came up with this idea because they saw a Michael Saylor podcast last week. So I think they've been having a lot of discussions, been sending a lot of emails, and they're not the only ones. So it'll start to just. I think it'll just start to bang, pop out that oil and gas and energy producers are getting involved. Even utility companies might even be state utility providers and stuff. You never know who's going to come.
Imagine starting this process 12 months ago when Bitcoin was only $4,000.
I did it in 2018, man. I got laughed out of the room. They wouldn't even take my call. They wouldn't even take my phone call.
Well, but as a company, you're going this way. You're going there. But it takes time to set up, and you hit December and hit 20,000, and dear God, within 2 months you're at 50,000, and yeah, you've lost a 10x already.
Well, and that's the point. I mean, the oil and gas producers last year that looked at this and said, "Hey, we're flaring gas in these areas. We should start bringing that gas to market. We should start mining Bitcoin and leveraging this tool, giving it, at least testing it, right? Let's start with a pilot project. Let's prove this concept. Let's run the numbers and let it sit for 6 months." But all of those guys that took that risk last year, I mean, come January 25th, they looked like absolute freaking geniuses. They looked like geniuses, right? And everybody else that decided to ignore it and disregard it, they looked like dinosaurs, right? They immediately looked like they're ignorant, they're closed-minded producers, because they could be in a better position today had they taken that risk last year. And so this is the process, right? This is how businesses grow. This is how competition comes to light, is, finally there's first movers. And then from those first movers, you have these almost kind of like FOMO advocates, right? That either they do it as a hedge, like, hey, our competition is doing it, so we should do it. And also it might work, so now it's easier for the fourth guy to get in than the first guy. And, that's what we're seeing. It feels so slow in real time, but I think we'll look back in 10 years and be like, man, remember when it all happened? It'll seem like a blink. It'll seem like all these guys came online at once. But because we're living it minute to minute, it feels, you have to endure it.
Yeah. So basically, Aker in March, Tesla announced February. We had stuff back in January as well, I think, some of the smaller ones. And December was the $1 billion attack from Saylor on, with convertible bonds. So it'll probably accelerate. I just want to build on Adam's point that, this is not a bearish square type of mood where we allocate 5% of the holdings. They went Michael Saylor, full bull, 100% of liquidity because they want to make a 100% smart decision and not a 5% smart edition. Pubby, you wanted to say something? Otherwise, I have a question for Denver.
Yeah, just real quick. You talk about, like you say, we live this not only day by day, but it's hour by hour, minute to minute. Of course, it seems like everyone here is on Twitter 24/7. Your time to us isn't the same as time to people in the real world. If you explain to people, like, really, I like to listen to old podcasts. If we had different guests coming on, and I remember, it's pretty interesting. You find some where someone that hasn't been on in 6 months was a guest, but you realize, like, before August, there was no Michael Saylor. Think about that for a minute. That dude seems like he's been around for 15 years. And it feels like 15 when you've been here for 3. And I'm laughing at how much has happened just since August. So our sense of time, it does get skewed quite a bit.
Oh, definitely. Well, I mean, part of it, too, is that 2020 was like 64 years long, right? So like that was part of this time skewing equation. But you're right. Bitcoin time is fast, and it's 24/7. That's part of the reason that I think Bitcoin will mature, and a lot of the charts look insane. I think the volatility part of it, the reason that it's insane is because it is this 24/7, this persistent price signal, right? Where you don't get any break. On Friday, a lot of the stock guys, after the extended hours, I mean, like, sure, maybe the ambitious, the go-getters are out there trying to, trade on the weekend and set up positions for when the market's open or trading international market, something. But ultimately, like, they get a break, from the price signal. And we don't. We have to wake up every day in the middle of the night. You see the damn price. It signals you. It plays with that operating system that is money in our mind. And so, I think Bitcoin will mature faster than legacy markets and legacy monies. Obviously, I think we're seeing that, and part of that, is the information age. But ultimately, its hours in operation are going to, it's going to surpass the Dow Jones in like a few years or something. Like, it's not very long because of how much more operational it is. So I don't know. I think it's weird times, right? It feels like every breath is a simulation because of all this news, all of this, the world begins to pay attention to Bitcoin when the price moves. And so that's the part that's surreal. Right.
And that's what I keep saying. Look, this is like when Elon Musk, he said, like, there's a bigger chance that we live in a simulation that this is base reality. I of course, I think this is base reality, but dude, this is too good to be true. Imagine being alive, watching a 3,000-year event, which is what we're seeing, in my opinion. Then I want to know, so I guess energy producers around the world are realizing that some of the energy which they just have as a cost, like the flare gas, like, I don't know if they have to pay, pollution fines for that, whatever. Like, it's just somehow a cost for them, right? I may be wrong on that. You please, answer this afterwards, your comments on it. But now they're going from, at least it's just as minimum a waste, if not a cost, they're converting it into a quite profitable mining energy source. And so what is that difference for them financially, in your opinion? You're doing this, you have contract with this, you're the expert in this area. And how large a percentage of energy wastage from energy producers like gas flaring has currently moved from just wasting and not generating anything, maybe have some cost, to have moved over to Bitcoin mining? What are we looking at?
Oh, that's fun. Okay, so I mean, first of all, yeah, I will say it depends upon the regulatory environment. Right? It depends upon where you're producing this oil and gas. But in North America, there are certainly places where it's costly to waste your gas. Right? It's costly to flare it. And so, and then even in some places like, and if there's really massive amounts of gas, Alaska, for example, I spoke with a gentleman that deals with operations up there, and they've got, I mean, incredible amounts of gas, like millions of cubic feet per day. And what they have to do oftentimes is they have to re-inject the gas, right? So they actually have to go drill a well to put the gas back into the earth. Now that is relatively environmental. I mean, it's quite environmentally friendly, as people would say, right? Because you're actually not letting them, but like it's a costly, headache, nightmarish process. Very, very complicated and not a guarantee. So anyway, there are certainly areas where there are these very costly options to deal with the gas, right? Gas mitigation, if you will. This is, like you said, this is a means by which to bring gas to market, and not just gas, bring any energy source to market as long as you have an internet connection. So right now, no matter how you generate electricity, if you can turn it into computational work, if you can turn it into, essentially guessing the correct block height, the hash for the block height on the network, you can sell electricity. You don't even have to talk to anybody. So like that's really just in the beginning a massive change. Now, how lucrative is that market, you're asking? Today, it's ridiculously lucrative. I mean, one of the biggest problems I have talking with oil and gas producers is we get into the numbers, we run the numbers, we look at the upfront capital cost, and we look at their projected daily earnings, at least what they would be earning today if they had this hash rate, and project that out how many days until you make up your the cost of your infrastructure, the cost of your data center and your miners and everything. And right now, it's an absolute joke. The numbers look like a scam, right? It looks like, what's the catch? Like, am I going to have to replace these miners every week or something? Because like, there's no way these numbers can be true, but they are. The thing that's different is you can't predict Bitcoin's price, and you can't you can't precisely predict how much hash rate is going to come on the network. And so going forward, if you try to project out how much we're going to make over 6 months, you start to lose precision. But I can say as of today, I mean, I'm talking with guys that are looking at an investment under $100,000, and if they were up and running, like they'd be earning $500 a day, right? And so it's like a potential 150 day ROI. Like these guys deal with pipelines, and their normal ROI is like 8 years. Like if everything goes great for 2 administrations. And so, this is just, it's so practical that even if you're like, okay, so even if today's numbers are just really good because the price is so high and not that much hash rates come on the network because of semiconductor, bottlenecks and supply constraints. Okay, well then let's say it's 1/5 of what we project, at today's earnings. It's like, okay, so we're talking about like, a year and a half, 16 months, like that's nothing to these guys, right? And the CapEx is really not that much. The issue is your last question of what percentage of gas that's been wasted is now being moved to mining Bitcoin. Look at this. Numerically, if I were to tell you the volume, and I don't know the specific volume, but it's a ton of gas. Like I could tell you an absolute ton, a ton of hash rate, ton of gas. Relative to the amount that's being wasted, it's a grain of sand on a beach.
So we're talking like less than 1% maybe of this.
I would say less than 1%. Yeah, that's that. I mean, and that's like less than 1% of reported numbers, right? Where the actual numbers, like what's actually happening, which who knows, right? Because we only know what we measure and report. It's gotta be less than 1%, especially if you talk about global wasted natural gas. Now, a lot of the natural gas that's wasted is pretty sour, meaning it has hydrogen sulfide in it, so it's corrosive. So you couldn't run it through an engine without treating it. But there's still a great percentage of the gas that's really for the most part combustible methane, 1,000 BTU, and relatively dry gas.
So that's a huge untapped potential. I'm sure you can help some of these guys understand, and hopefully you can make a buck on it. You being Well, I mean, in my opinion, from what I know, one of the absolute experts in converting wasted energy into profitable energy. Puppy,
Yeah,
what you say?
fantastic stuff.
You're looking at the chat, are you?
No, I was. Hey, yeah. So now always great stuff with Adam when it comes to energy. And I promised on the show we weren't going to do like the full energy show without Greg Foss on here. I think this is a fantastic overview. And just to get us started, I will say we have one of our best friends and living legends here, Knut Svanholm. And you know, Knut shows up so often. I always want to give him a plug because guess what, Knut? Look what I keep on me at all times. In case you show up,
Nukes,
I will
man.
plug your book. I will plug your book, my friend. So yeah, Independence Reimagined. If you have not seen it yet or read it yet, listen to it on audio, however you prefer to have it. A great book. So there you go, Knut. Thanks for showing up. And I'm still waiting for Jeff Booth and Gigi. Maybe they show up. We got the books ready to go.
Yeah, if they show up in the chat with shill books. That's how it is. So, oh, and by the way, we have crossed 1,000 subscribers on the channel. Thank you, everyone.
Hey, congrats, guys.
Thank you.
Yeah,
so
that's
thanks,
awesome,
everyone.
man.
It is, yeah. So thank you, everyone, for watching. And just be aware if there are any ads saying that you should send your Bitcoin to them and they'll double it and send it back, that is scam. Google and YouTube are not good at blocking that. They prefer blocking real Bitcoin companies. So don't send your Bitcoin to anyone. All right. Let's just get that straight.
No, if you leave it on Coinbase, you'll be fine.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know,
so
I will.
people,
You know, what one thing I saw. I think it was. I think it was like Bitcoin Disciple or something that shared this. But one thing I think people maybe don't think about in terms of mining is, you know, right now the block reward at 6.25 Bitcoin per block. It's still.
Yeah.
I mean, it seems like a lot, and it's part of the reason it kind of seems like a lot is because of Bitcoin's price, right? Maybe at $6,000, it didn't seem like very much for a block reward. But before the end of this decade, we're going to be at 1.075 or something like that.
Well,
I mean, we're going to be almost to 1 Bitcoin per block as the reward. Now, obviously, there'll be fees as well, but still, I don't think people realize. You know, I don't know who said it, but we always overestimate what we can do in a year and underestimate what we can do in 10 years, and that's what I'm really excited about. It's just kind of looking back on this at 2028, 2029, and after the second, 2 more halvings and seeing what's going on.
Listen, I'd be remiss if I didn't regale the chat room with my Bitcoin story, you know, because I entered at the top at 2017,
yeah, that's right.
December, you know, I had to write it down. And man, so when you go from 17, 18, 19, 20,000 down to 3,000 and back up again over 3 years, then to see it just go from, you know.
Yeah, you were baptized
10,000.
You were baptized in your own blood. And I mean, you got chopped 80+% right out of the gate, and you held on. And look at you now. You look like a genius. You look
right
like
out
an
of the
absolute
gate.
stone cold genius.
Right out of the gate. So, hey, you know, at the end of this year, and we're gonna get price predictions later from you. Of course, we always love the moon juice, as Anders would say. But can you imagine someone coming in at 288? If Plan B's model is correct, imagine coming in at 288 and having to ride that bitch down to 100,000 if it pulls back that far. I mean, for us, but this is a cycle, man. This is, like you say, you get baptized into this world, and yeah, God bless the people in 2013. You know, they started at 1,000. It was up at 1,000 and dropped all the way to 200. Friar Haas can attest to that.
I got chopped in half. I mean, right? I remember. I think probably within I think it was 5 months into me, learning about it. And I came in early 2018, so I was just, a few months after you. I came in, right as price had already passed 10,000, but I got chopped in half, and I just put in allocated, some stock money and made a big buy, and then of course it went from 6,200 to 3,700, and so I was just, I mean, everybody feels the pain, and those of us that held on, it was because we see something else, or we just, I don't know, maybe we're just more excited about 2030 than everyone else. I don't understand why people panic so much on the unrealized loss, but Yeah.
So we have, yeah, of course, we're going to touch on energy, but the cool thing, man, is we get to know each other over the years, and friend of the show, just come on, man. Now I like to talk about other aspects because I don't want to just sort of pigeonhole you into that energy corner. So yeah, so what do you
Oh,
think?
yeah.
The stuff coming out right now, man. I mean, if you take a step back and look at this, yeah, what were your thoughts on this past year for one, and yeah, what do you see for 2021?
I don't know. I mean, 2020 was pure signal as well, right? I mean, from to showing how incompetent lawmakers are at preventing and trying to incentivize certain behaviors and prevent something from spreading. I mean, it absolutely showed how terrible the government is at spending money, right? That's one thing that we saw. I don't know. I mean, not very many people paid attention to the fact that some of these programs where they were trying to get masks to a certain city or a certain state or something, like they ended up spending like $7 per disposable N95 mask to ship millions of them, because it's just they're so inefficient. So I think that 2020 showed that. I think 2020 also showed there's no limit to the printing press. I think everybody has kind of assumed that the printing press, the monetary expansion on behalf of central banks, everybody is kind of assumed there's like this unspoken limitation, like, yeah, but they won't print like 50 trillion, or you know what I mean? Like they just, like, nobody really maybe knows the exact number, but everyone just kind of assumes they won't get out of control. And I mean, that thesis is garbage now. I mean, 2020 proved that they'll turn to the money printer and they'll ramp that thing up. I mean, look what they just agreed to spend 1.9 trillion, right? So I think 2021 is going to be it's kind of like the walk in between home plate and first base when somebody pitches you 4 balls, where it's just like 2021 is just kind of like we all realize we're about to be on base and things are about to get weird, and we're about to enter this new, the pitcher's about to go from the stretch instead from the full windup because like things are changing now. The information age is forcing this change, and I don't think the Keynesian model is sustainable, but they're going to try to prove me wrong. I think they're going to flood the system with as many dollars as they think they can get away with, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I think we're definitely already way past that point where you can't print anymore. We haven't seen the full effect of that yet, but that's what we're gonna see when the currency finally hyperinflates. Like, the foundation is laid for that. They can't stop now. If they stop now, those in charge at central bank and government will be known as the people who put the countries into something like a 30s Great Depression or worse. So they have to keep going, and then they can blame someone else. No one wants that responsibility on their shift. The foundation is laid. Now we're just watching slowly, bit by bit, people understanding it. So from hodler to hodler, word of mouth. And, Michael Seller has done a great job in the beginning of February with a conference where 11,000, 14,000 people from corporates learned how to start using Bitcoin to store value in companies. So what do you guys expect for 2021 in terms of the bull run here?
I mean, I think I've been published, I think it was Bitcoin Magazine. I called for, at least $75,000 by the end of the year, but I think that's like, I mean, but this was back off the show.
Get him off the show.
This was before 18. This was before 18. I mean, I've been saying, yeah, this was before even 18,000, right? This was back in December.
Okay.
So yeah, like I think I've been calling for 100K by the end of 2021. I mean, so I have a business with my dad, and I started talking about this business early 2018. And my thesis there was, I was like, Dad, Bitcoin's going to be over $100,000 by the end of 2021. I was like, I was from everybody from, John McAfee to Kaiser. I was like, I just don't think that it stays under, a couple $1 trillion asset for very long. And, now I'm not so sure that, like, we go to 100,000 and that's even that big of a mental barrier for people. Like I could see us just shattering it. I think 50,000, like 1 trillion as a market cap for some reason seems more severe than like now it's like there's no roadblocks really until like 500,000 and then $1 million per coin, right? We get to the size of gold, and then we go to double the size of gold, and those are the two landmarks left.
100K is gone by the Miami conference, Bitcoin conference, hosted by Bitcoin Magazine, June 4 and 5. 100K is gone by that time. Just, I want to say, so again, I've been watching the price, on a tab, one of the browser tabs here while we've had the show. We've gone from 50 something now to 51 something. It's a known thing. It's a scarf pun. When THH is on, the last couple of times the price has jumped by 1,000. However, look, Pubby and Danish have their scarf armed for the pump, but Denver, if you can reach for your scarf, I'm pretty sure we'll go above 52 during the show here.
So,
I'm not even sure I own a scarf.
Hey, if someone has the time to do it, I am curious about this, Anders, because if you go back in history, like you say, if you would buy some corn before our show starts and sell it by the end, you're up a few points right now.
I think if you did that as a buying or Bitcoin, it's probably the only trading strategy that works short term is you go long corn before THH goes live. You sell it immediately when we stop, and you'll probably be doing really, really well for yourself.
Yeah, you guys' network effect. The lift you have in Bitcoin buys is just even hard. It's hard to measure. It's so big.
So I don't know if it's because people watching are smash buying, or if the people watching normally sells and then they're busy occupied with the show for 2 hours.
Oh yeah, they're normally sellers.
So supply is just being squeezed.
No, it's the first one. It's the first one.
Yeah.
People are smash buying during the show. That's what's happening.
Yeah.
No, but I mean, this is a weird time to be alive, right? Like I always say, I think any articles, anything I write, I get published going forward, I think I'm going to end it with what a time to be alive, because, this is a really bizarre kind of individualism, empowerment stage in at least in Western society, but I think globally, right? And I think the information age, it's inherent, where once we get access to information, once we have this, these kind of open means to coordinate and communicate with each other, we're going to be able to empower one another, right? We're going to be able to connect and leverage leverage our connections with all these people to our benefit, right? And we're gonna be able to remove a lot of the rent-seeking middlemen, right? And one of the biggest rent-seeking middlemen is the state, right? And certainly the way in which they middlemen currency and they middlemen the dollar. So I think, it's really exciting. It's also really daunting, right? I mean, if your stomach doesn't start to float a little bit thinking of these things, I don't know if you're thinking about them deep enough, because these are really powerful implications. I spoke with an oil and gas guy, and he's out of Eastern Oklahoma. Really awesome guy and super smart guy. He's got a thick accent, and he's like, one of the things that attracted me the most to the Bitcoin mining is there's no counterparty risk. He's like, I can sell my gas, and I don't have to worry about anybody else screwing up my operation, right? I don't have to worry about the pipeline going down. I don't have to worry about the government coming in and shutting down the pipeline. And he's like, I've seen our guys in the industry that have literally done everything perfect, and somebody with the pipeline or something else got screwed up and they went bankrupt because of this counterparty. And this removes that, right? So like in every way, Bitcoin empowers the individual. And I think the world's going to change severely because of that.
100%. The world will be such a much better place by the end of this decade. People can't even believe it. But Jeff Booth knows it. I don't have his book right here, so I can show it. People call it my coaster. Got
it right there.
Deflation. The world of deflation will be there we go. That will be
prices tomorrow.
Obviously from Pubby. Pubby, so Denver. We're never going to ask Denver again for price predictions, because we don't want to have a negative influence on the price of Bitcoin. But I get it. Look, when you give a price like prediction to people, you want to be sure it's outperformed, because then you don't want to get people to expect something that's not going to happen. I always try to do that. And like the last couple of years, I have not, like, Bitcoin has always outperformed my price prediction, but Still the lack of confidence, of course, is striking there, Denver. But Puppy,
well, no, I'll say this. I mean, of course, I'm more bullish than that. I mean, goodness,
I know.
I will say, even my boss, Steve Barber, he got interviewed by a newspaper up in Canada, and he was quoted in the newspaper column for I think it was 350,000 by 2024, maybe. And that's part of the issue with, it's hard for me to predict in 10 months. It's God, I'm much more comfortable predicting 2028 than I am predicting the end of 2021. But yeah, I mean, 75 would be the low end. I mean, if that's not the bottom, then
yeah, let's pass the ball to Puppy here on before you kill all the moon juice. No, so yeah, that's what we do on THH. We make fun of each other. That's what we're here for. We're here for bullish Bitcoin talk that we, however, believe in, and just have a good time. We're in the pub, and it's a badge of affection when we give someone a hard time. Puppy, so I'll join with my price predictions after you. Why don't you take it away? What do you expect?
Yeah, so why don't you take it away, and then when you start to speak, I'll interrupt you. I got it, Anders. Got it. So here we go. Listen, so no, just to go back on some of the things Adam was saying. You know what's interesting about this, and people talk about the first time in 300 years we are resetting the entire financial world in a sense. This is being done in real time. Okay, this is being done live stream. This isn't people find out in a village 20 years after it happened. You see, that's the most fascinating part of it all to me. Is this is real time stuff. You watch these announcements, and everyone is so educated and can see behind the scenes. Guess what? The emperor has no clothes, man. The emperor has no clothes. And we can sit here and argue about laser eyes all day, man. You know why? Because we know who the winner is. We know what the outcome is. There's only one logical outcome on this all.
Yeah. We'll get some bull sense into you at Denver.
What part of it is? You know what part of it is? Okay, is that I'm mining Bitcoin. Okay, so if you're right, you
got to be conservative.
And by the way, well, yes, and so if we're at 150,000 next month, my earnings, I can't even get that excited because I'll start to lose my mind. I'll start to lose focus on what I need to focus on today. Because, and you're right, by the way. I mean, I didn't know we'd be at 50K by February. Yes, I expect to get my face melted. I like to be cautiously optimistic, I guess.
Yeah. No, look, we're just having fun. I know that you can't imagine, you can't start planning your business after 350K Bitcoin, because you'll start thinking about leaving Denver on a jet plane. Puppy.
Hey, look, we had from last March to this March, we had a 10x. Why not one more? Why not 500,000 by the end of the year?
Why not? There's absolutely no reason that it can't happen. I mean, it's certainly more likely than Bitcoin going from $0 to 50,000 is Bitcoin going from 50,000 to 500,000. I mean, that's way more likely. So
yeah, I would like to interject in that. I want to support your point of view here, Puppy, because we all know, if we look at graphs not only of Bitcoin and other assets, that bull runs go parabolic. They get steeper and steeper. The percentage price increase goes up and on a monthly basis. I just want to not straight. Obviously, there are those corrections and swings or whatever. It doesn't matter. Underlying bull runs are parabolic in nature, and I just want to remind everyone that this is the 6th consecutive month that Bitcoin has done more than double-digit percentage growth in the price, and several of those were around 40%. But I'm just putting it out there. So as bull runs get more and more parabolic, that 10x, if we did 10x past, we should maybe expect more than 10x. Just putting it out there.
I mean, I think I think the upward slippage, right, with all the leverage out there, and with big players entering the market because we're over $1 trillion. I mean, there could be upward price slippage. We could see stupid numbers. I mean, it might not sit there forever, right? We might see quick corrections and figure it out, but ultimately, I think we could see some stupid candles.
So let me try to phrase it this way. Yes, Elon Musk had made his announcement. You have less than 1% of the world's corporations that are involved with Bitcoin right now. Limited nation states. Okay, the gold rush will be on. The new Bitcoin. You think the gold rush of 1849 in San Francisco was something? Get ready for the Bitcoin rush of 2021, man, because no one's going to want to be left behind, and you're just good. And everyone, God bless you if you've hodled since whenever you started. No, obviously, for the chat, I started December 2017, just to make sure you know that. But anyone that's been here, God bless you, because you held on. And guess what you get to do now, man? You get to sit back. You get to sit back with your beer, your cup of coffee, and watch. You watch the titans of industry that are now fighting and scrambling over just a 0.01 fraction. You see, I think it's fantastic.
Yeah, you took the risk, and now you get to be right.
Yep.
So I'll talk a little bit about my prediction. So I have, again, to be conservative, and this is a very, very conservative estimate or prediction in order to make sure that I'm 100% sure we outperform that. So I used to say 300,000 latest Q1 next year, but this bull run, we just have known it for months now, is just way steeper than the one in 17 was, and that's what I was projecting that on. So I feel quite quite confident that Bitcoin probably will hit 300,000 in Q3 latest this year. I'm not saying yet it's that's what I expect, but I think that's quite likely, 300,000 in Q3. We could even hit it late Q2.
Let me jump
certainly
in.
Not unheard of.
Let me jump in on this real quick, because, and you're right. And can you imagine a year ago at $5,000 when you're telling your friends, listen, I think it'll be $50,000 by the end of the year. Like you say, when you went into with that proposal to your boss, you get laughed out of the room a year ago. Well, guess what? It's here. It is here, isn't it? And what's another 10x from here is easier, actually. That was this year was a harder 10x because no one believed you. Now people see, like, Jesus, these guys may be right. So it's easier to get people on board for the next 10x. It's coming.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think I said it before. I said, everyone laughed until it was no longer funny, right? Everyone laughs until it's no longer funny. Until they look at the numbers and the opportunity it's not funny anymore, right? Missing this isn't worth laughing about. And so, especially like oil and gas guys, right? Like they laughed about doing this with their flare gas, and now they're not laughing very much anymore. They're taking it seriously. And so, yeah, we're just at that turning point, right? We're at that all at once kind of moment. But it's been awesome, guys. I gotta call here in like 8 minutes, but and I gotta hop off. But love being on the show. Hit me up anytime. I'm always happy to be here. And let's do a show with Greg. Let's do an energy show. I'd love to. Yeah, man. I'd love to sit down and pick Foss's thoughts. He's just so sharp, and I love hearing his input. So.
Look, I'll jump down to the chat for that one. You guys just go, and I can bullshit with the boys. It's a great show. Great show.
Yeah, absolutely. It was great having Greg on, and Adam. It's always a real pleasure. This is the second time you're on. We love having you on, and it's both you and Greg come with so much energy. No pun intended. You're both from the energy sector, but the show with Greg Foss, we could have run Bitcoin miners strictly based on the energy he was delivering. So I can't wait to have you two together. That's going to be amazing. And all I'll do is just pay attention to the chat. Same with Pubby, and you guys just run with it. That's going to be probably one of the best shows ever.
What I love about the show with Greg and Adam is this, man. Obviously, the age discrepancy. There's a lot of Ferris Bueller references down here. But you know what's fantastic is, man, the energy level. Greg, our boomer, man, that guy, he gets so excited, man. I thought he was going to eat the microphone. He was going to eat the microphone.
He's awesome. He's awesome.
I love him, man.
He can sell the, he's a perfect bridge too, right? Because I mean, a lot of boomers aren't going to take me seriously, and they're certainly not going to take my excitement as a good thing, right? They're going to see my excitement as the thing that blinds me from objectivity. But with Greg, they listen to him more, right? Like he's a much better speaker to that audience, and so he's a great tool, a great addition to the Bitcoin community, I think.
Yeah. But Denver, you put on the bull t-shirt. You can just show the audience.
Had it on the whole time.
All right. You just
had it on the whole time.
So we welcome you back into the bullish community. You are pardoned for your bearish sentiment.
We're grateful.
Because we love you, we kind of forgive you. Just don't do it again.
Of course. All right, guys. Hey, cheers. Take care. Have an awesome show.
Ciao, brother. We'll talk soon. Yeah, man.
Here we go.
Hey, when's the last time you and I had just our old regular show? It's been a while, hasn't it?
Yeah, but
that's good.
It feels great, and but absolutely we were meant to go just you and I today, but having Denver on is just super cool, and honestly, it feels like our regular shows. It was more about let's just talk Bitcoin, and Denver has that whole background and is super relevant for the announcement today from Norway, and just a great opportunity to talk Bitcoin and share some moon juice. With the chat, and chat is nice and bullish. You can't, no matter what you say, you're a bear, and that's just the name of the game, which is difficult because you don't want to you don't want to throw something out there and then people get disappointed. But that's why I'm saying very, very conservative, that I believe that we will see 300,000 by Q3 this year.
Yeah, I can't disagree, man. When I saw that news today, and of course I'm 3 hours ahead of you, I'm thinking, well, Dan, it's great energy news, it's great Bitcoin news. You and I were just going to go live and do our thing. Why not? Why not reach out to Denver? Because he's been on the show, and he's like, yeah, man, let me talk about this, because this is the domino effect. The dominoes are starting to fall, man. And when you get the second richest man in Norway, as if that means anything, he's a billionaire whose company decides we're going all in. Well, guess what? Other Scandinavian countries take notice. Other countries around the world take notice, man. And that's the thing. It's every day, it's another company. Every day, another company.
You know what's interesting, what you just said about another Scandinavian, isn't this actually the first European country that is being just slightly a little bit bullish news, worthy, because we've had Tesla, we've had MicroStrategy, we had Square. Square was bearish with a tiny, quarter billion dollar, I guess, purchase by now. But it's first time a European company steps up a little bit to the plate, isn't it?
Yeah, let's be honest. That Jack is more European than American. Americans have always sort of led the way before Europe. I'm just saying.
Economically, absolutely, yes, I agree. But I would say that the level of deep state corruption, is just not great for American productivity. It really isn't.
Of course not.
So, and I just want to put this out there. So I'm not judging, but I want to put this out there because now I'll touch a little bit on politics. The last 50 years, there are only two presidents that did not, in their first term, ask for new military funding. Like Biden is obviously not one of them. Within a month, he's bombing in Syria. Two presidents did not spend new money on military the first term. That was Jimmy Carter and Donald Trump, and both of them were ousted after the first term. So I'm just putting it out there, regarding military complex effect on American elections. Just putting it out there. Make your own, opinion.
I like when you said I'm not going to say anything political, except I'm going to say something political. I love it.
So,
Yeah,
so what are you going to say? Yeah.
Jimmy Carter was a strange era, man. Here for sure. Yeah, coming out of Vietnam War, and before Reagan, it was interesting. Yeah, hey, so let's get back. You know, we've got. I know we've got a couple outliers as far as we're going to try to have some people on to talk more about this. Exit strategies, man. There's going to be an exit strategy at some point at 500,000, a million. At what percentage would you consider? Because they'll never want to sell your Bitcoin. I know we want to use it as part of the Lightning Network. Is there a percentage that you would be willing to, I don't know, put out there, like with a BlockFi or something else? And what percentage is good for you to get just a residual income?
Yeah. So great question, Pubby. So I have become an absolute monster fan of Preston Pish. Both of us look up to that guy. He's amazing. He's developing new knowledge and understanding, and that's what I always value very high. Just like Jeff Booth and Andy Edstrom have added like super visionary things, and that's what Preston Pish is doing right now with talking about the contango, which will lead to SAT squeeze. That being because there's a contango in the Bitcoin a Bitcoin price, being higher in the future than it is now, aka Bitcoin future prices are significantly higher than current Bitcoin prices. That is part of creating a very high free market interest rate in Bitcoin. And as Preston Pish is talking about, because normal fiat, dirty fiat, artificial low interest rate of 0%, sooner or later that 200 trillion bond money will be moving towards Bitcoin because it can actually get a return, unlike in just traditional artificially bond claim, dirty fiat currency claims. That's a whole other aspect of it. So to get back to your question about how much to put on BlockFi, for instance, or somewhere else. So there's two places today that as far as I'm aware, that you can get an interest rate on your Bitcoin. One of them is custodial, it's BlockFi. But after Preston Pish's interview of Zach, the CEO of BlockFi, then I am more comfortable with that. And Preston Pish has said personally he believes between a 10. And finally, by now, I'm starting to answer your questions, that between 10 and 20% allocated to BlockFi, he feels like it's not too, it's probably a reasonable amount to put out there for that. I think that sounds reasonable. And then there is Lightning Network, which is a non-custodial way of earning an interest on your Bitcoin. So if you open channels on the Lightning Network, and if anyone knows how this is done, and how you can manage that for us non-technical guys, but let's say you put X amount of satoshis on the Lightning Network, you open channels, so when Lightning Network payments route through you and you collect that 1, 2, 3, 4, 10 sats or whatever per transaction, that actually gives you a return, which is non-custodial. The Bitcoin is still with you, yet you're earning an interest rate. This is super, super, super interesting. And if anyone knows how that is, how you can do that, I'd be all ears. I'm very interesting.
So I was listening. I think it was Preston Pish on. It may have been on Daniel Prince's pocket. Hey, shout out to you, Princey. No, talk about opening channels. The more in the Bitcoin you have, but I guess. Sailor can open more channels than anyone, man. Yeah. So that guy art on so many levels. Not only buying Bitcoin and getting ahead of the game, but now he's got the Lightning Network to look forward to.
Right. Excuse me for 2 seconds here, Pubby, but I absolutely agree. MicroStrategy has the opportunity to become really a financial company and a Lightning Network operator, etc. Give me 2 seconds here.
Sure. Oh, this gives me time to look into the chat. Here we go. Yep. Safe pod. Okay.
Dude, I'm back. Yep. And happy birthday,
happy birthday.
There. Birthday, not mine, but anyway, Plan Marcus found the red balloon. So the show is saved. The bullish THH run is saved because Plan Marcus found the red balloon. But yeah, where did we come from? Look, so what do you think? I answered your question. 10 to 20% of BlockFi. Yeah, I think that makes sense. Partly because we found out what that liquidity is being used for, and it's by market makers on exchanges. That and a market maker means they put the limit prices out there. So if you want to buy, they have a price there, so you can buy for them. They basically have some limit bids just above and just below. And the profit is maybe small, but there's a lot of trading. So this way, they get a return on the Bitcoin that they've put out there, and they earn a high interest, and they share some of that, by lending it from BlockFi with the people who deposited on BlockFi. What do you think?
So this comes back to, and we've gone back and forth upon this, on what is the true view of hyper Bitcoinization? What is the view of it? How does it work? One of the things everyone always thought, like, oh, then you just trade in cryptocurrency. You trade on tokens, you trade with Bitcoin. What I think is fascinating now is like, fuck no, man. Why would I ever get rid of my Bitcoin? Maybe I can safely lend it out. I can trust a third party to hold as a multi-sig, 2 or 3, whatever. You can trust them, and you just gain 10% of your Bitcoin, which is going to deflate every year. I think it just changes the game. Hell, can you imagine? As we're calling for $500,000 by the end of the year. $1 million within 5 years is nothing.
Are you kidding me?
That's nothing, right? It's nothing.
Yeah. That's like, in my opinion, that's a given. I think it's likely dirty fiat is over in 5 years.
Right. So that's my point. Is look, you'll get 10%, no problem, and whatever token they're going to try to jam down our throat. I don't know what it's going to be. CBDC or whatever, they're going to try to jam it down. Hold on to your Bitcoin. I'm very reluctant to ever sell. I would rather trust it to a third party, like 10% of what I own, and get a return.
Yeah. So, and I never was not agreeing with you on that. The difference between us, this was the discussion we had with Knud. Knud, you're still hanging out in the chat, so he knows that the discussion was that I said that, but Satoshis, aka Bitcoin, is what you will be using as money. And Knud, in the end of that discussion, came around and said,
"Hey, Knud,
so
can Knud jump in?"
Of course he can, but let me just finish here. That would be much appreciated. Now, of course, Knud, I'm going to send you a link real soon. So I'll just go through the chat and answer this one. So the question is, you said that once hyper Bitcoinization knows we only have Bitcoin, that we would use something else. We would take a loan out on our Bitcoin, but there's no more dollar. You can no longer take out a loan on Bitcoin. At least I claim there won't be a dirty fiat around. There won't be any other useful and liquid token. It will be only Bitcoin, but we don't want to spend it. Yes, that's correct. That's why it will be very valuable, and you'll get a lot of goods and services for your Satoshis. But yes, you're absolutely right. You can deposit 10-20% of your Bitcoin. You can get a return, and maybe you can live from the interest rate or less than the interest rate. So that we agree on.
Even better, even better. Put 20% of your Bitcoin out there, and you take the rest. And guess what you do? You buy more Bitcoin as long as you have other salary coming in.
Well, no, dude, you don't buy more Bitcoin because the interest rate you're getting is Bitcoin.
I'm buying
dollar is
Bitcoin
gone. We're talking about. Sorry.
See, you're talking about the time frame when dollars are done. I'm talking about the time frame when it's a transition, because they're going to transition between dollars and tokens and other bullshit. That's all.
Yeah, but okay, I don't want to take this discussion again. To be honest, well, I mean, let's get Knut on, but I don't want to spend another episode discussing whether Bitcoin is money or not by the end of this decade. It's a relevant discussion, and people can go back and have a look.
Motherfucker.
Right. All right. So let me just catch up on the chat, and then I'm going to get the link and send it to Knut. Wait, why
Dr.
does it say age? Yeah.
Yeah, Dr. Seuss. We got to talk about Dr. Seuss as well.
Look, no, you know what? The chat, I'm way behind on that anyway. Knut, I will send you the link now. We do know that maybe you can't join, but if you can, everyone here will be happy. So there we go. There's Knut. And you now have the link, Knut. Would love if you joined. And let's see. Let's see if Knut pops on. But in the meantime, Greg is back. That tweet or chat is about 5 minutes old, so he's probably gone again. He's memeing for strike now. Greggy made it big time.
Yeah, fantastic. I think. Oh, here we go. Look at that.
Welcome back, Knut.
You start with Denver, and you end up with Knut.
And 8 a.m. this morning, 2-3 hours before we went live, Pubby and Danish, we're going to have a conversation. So, Knut, how do you feel about our fellow Vikings, the smallest Viking country up north? I guess northwest of you, Norway. An energy giant created this company with 500 million Norwegian crowns, which I guess is around $60 million in buying Bitcoin. Yeah. And have any comments on that?
Aker is the name of the firm. They're the 11th biggest company in Norway, and it's of course it's great news. And I read the memo, and they've been orange pilled, and more are soon to follow.
Yeah, so good to see, right? That one by one, the corporate dominoes are falling, still at a very slow pace, like one a month, at least what we hear about. But at least the press releases that may be 1 month delayed after they've done all that buying without influencing the price, they come out. I guess we're still seeing the press releases of what's been happening the last 30 days behind the scenes until they come out, which pretty much coincides with, it was a bit more than a month ago that MicroStrategy had his conference helping more than 10,000 CEOs about how to do it.
Yeah, maybe they were part of that. We don't really know that, but
we don't.
That might have been the tipping point for them. Who knows? Anyway, I got a theory about this living. How many percent of your Bitcoin you're living off in the future?
Okay.
And I heard this from Michael Saylor on Seetee's pod, and I've been thinking about it a lot since, because apparently there are services where you can use your Bitcoin as collateral, or as you can take out loans with your Bitcoin as a safety net, basically, which means that you can take a huge fiat loan and just pay interest on it indefinitely, and when your Bitcoins go up, you never need to pay back the loan. And the more your Bitcoins go up in value, the larger the loan can be. So you don't even need an income. You can just spend your whatever mortgage or loan you took. Whatever.
I agree on that.
And since Bitcoin's value goes up and up, you have a larger and larger stack to back the loan with. So you can die happily with a huge loan, which will be automatically cancelled or wherever, depending on your jurisdiction, and a huge stack of Bitcoin to give to your children and grandchildren.
I agree. So this is relevant as long as dirty fiat still exists.
Yes, but this is.
Yes. I'll just finish that thought. So so maybe that's a discussion whether we believe that dirty fiat will still be here 10 years from now or not. I don't think it will. I believe in the hyper-Bitcoinization, but I just want to say one thing. So, Knut, what I would recommend more, not that we're doing any recommendations here, is to Bitcoin, lend your Bitcoin out and receive Bitcoin as an interest, because when you use Bitcoin as a collateral for fiat loan, what happens is when you have the black swan, like 12th of March, COVID news crash last year, you don't have time to put in more collateral, and your Bitcoin is sold because all of a sudden the equity is equal to the loan, and you lose your coin. So I really like to advise against putting your Bitcoin up for a fiat loan, because it's just a matter of time. Something bad happens. It could happen, and you lose whatever you put up as collateral.
Yeah, but that's
much rather like
the same is true if you lend out your Bitcoin, of course.
No.
Yes, of course. I mean, the person you give it to might not pay you back. Like,
okay. It's
sure, you can do a
loan.
Lightning Network sort of a program thing there, so that you automatically get your coins back. But there's no guarantees in that.
There's no guarantees in anything except death and taxes. But let me just answer that, because I mean, this is what Preston Pish is looking into. I have looked at it, and the way it works is that the people taking a loan from, for instance, BlockFi, it's called over collateralized loan. So if they want to borrow your one Bitcoin, which is now valued at 50,000, to generate a return as a market maker on exchanges, they need to put twice that amount down minimum as dirty fiat. So $100,000 as a security for that one Bitcoin. And if the price of Bitcoin, so this way, because there's a security in terms of fiat for your Bitcoin, then there's not that. It's not at all the same risk. If the price of Bitcoin crashes, no one is selling your Bitcoin, and no one's unable to pay it back, because as soon as that is close to happening, if this collateral no longer is enough, you will get back your deposited Bitcoin. It's over collateralized loans.
But Anders, 2x in fiat is not that much. I mean, how quickly did the move from 20,000 to 40,000 happen? That was days, like less than a week.
Weeks.
It was about a month. It was about a month while the crash. I mean, we can go back and look at the price chart. Anyways, if it was 20 days or 30 days,
you don't know that. It might the move to 100K might be or to 300K might be faster than the last crash. You can't know these things. So that's still there's still a risk to that. But then let me answer the question about when fiat has already died, if it ever does. Which like there are other things in the world to lend to people than just Bitcoin and fiat, and there will always be other things, and people will trade with other stuff than just Bitcoin, because good money, like bad money, drives out good money. People will save in Bitcoin and spend other stuff. Like you can lend Lambos to each other, whatever. Like the death of fiat does not mean.
Look, Starbucks is not going to take a Lambo as payment. That is very impractical.
No. But metaphorically speaking, Anders, like the death of fiat does not mean the death of loans and interest.
Yep. Of course not. You have Bitcoin as the loan and Bitcoin as the interest rate.
Well, it does not mean the death of loans and interest in other stuff than Bitcoin. This can still happen. You don't need Bitcoin for it. You can still. There will be ways around it, and I think you're better off not using your Bitcoin. Or
that's fine.
If you're going to use them, you're going to use a very small percentage, and like it's not worth.
That's Satoshis. Look, Starbucks is not going to take a bad token, an S token. They're not going to take Lamborghinis. They're not going to take your whatever you're painting.
No.
There needs to be. But Knut, I don't want to have the same discussion as we already spent an hour on.
I'm not trying to have the same discussion. I'm trying to say that there will be ways to make money off your stack without ever moving your stack. That's all I'm saying.
I never thought I would say this as an American, but guys, can we have a little bit of peace here? A little bit of peace. Okay, look, Save the fighting for the Americans. We will bomb your countries as we wish, but please, please, gentlemen, this is a war room. There's no fighting here.
I think, look, I think we can end it by saying so. I mean, Knut and I, we both agree that we don't agree whether Bitcoin will be, the money that is being used 10 years from now. We're unable to convince each other. So, why don't we just leave it there and move on?
Saying no again, because I think we have a different definition of use. Used, like when you say used as money, we have two different definitions.
On Starbucks. Starbucks 10 years from now is not going to take a Lamborghini. They're not going to take empty black plastic bottles that has a return value or something. The only thing they will accept is Satoshi.
Yeah, they're going to take Satoshis, but no one will buy coffee with it.
Okay, so you're saying that Bitcoin will be money, but no one will use money, and your wealth is therefore unuseful for it. That's fine.
Hey, both of you settle down. Both of you settle down for a minute. I understand Knut's position in a way, and I think. Don't break up with me. Don't break up with me.
No.
What I'm saying is, I think what he's saying here is how we view money is going to be different. They would want Bitcoin maybe in lightning form. I don't know, but it's not going to be the same. It's not the same as it is now.
Yeah, I'd like to explain myself, Anders. I'd like to explain myself. I think I think you didn't really. I couldn't get my point across last time, and the debate was slightly wrong. But I need to think it through better, and I need to flesh it out better. I think we view hyper-Bitcoinization in different ways. I think a lot about it, and I can't really wrap my hand around it because Bitcoin is not money in that sense. It's a completely new thing, and I hesitate to speculate on usage in the future. People aren't using but there might be a strange thing. And I don't see a future where people use sats for coffee every day. I just don't see that happening.
That is fair. That's your point of view, and it's Pubby's point of view. So before you said that we may not agree on what we mean about what people using as money, but exactly that is the definition that I'm saying that in 2030 you won't have any other option. That if you want that coffee, it's Satoshis you pay. Yes, you pay very little Satoshi because nobody want to get rid of it. It's very valuable, but I'm saying that there's no other liquid good money medium of exchange. So that's fair. Like that's where we disagree. Don't say you don't speculate, because you are speculating that it won't be Satoshis, even though last time after 1 hour you came around and said, yeah, maybe it's Satoshi, but it's very little. I agree, it's very little because it'll be very valuable. Pubby wanted to say something. I think we want a Beatles song.
Listen, I'm just curious. Looking forward, hell, who knows what what's the percentage rate? What would it take for you to give up your Bitcoin? Okay, what would it take? I don't know. At a certain rate, at 1%, 2%, 3%, there's going to be tokens that are going to try to tie to Bitcoin, and there's going to be dumbass people out there that will buy it. There'll be dumbass people.
I tell you what, the corporations are not going to be those dumb people. Okay, Knut.
Thank you, guys. I have to leave. I have to watch The Expanse with my wife. Rather, I want to watch The Expanse with my wife. So it's always nice chatting with you guys. But see you in Miami.
Okay, that is
in Miami.
Hey, look forward to that. Let's have a song before you.
No song today.
No mood for song. No mood for song.
Not in the mood for a song today. You'll have a lounge version of "Fuck You Money" next time instead. I'll play it on my synthesizer. This is all true. So bye. See you in Miami.
We love you, man.
Bye.
See you soon. Hey, that's what we bring to the table, don't we? Nothing.
Sorry?
That's what we bring to the table. Canoe up the sideline. What are you?
I guess that Knut didn't like the discussion that he started. I know you still may be watching Knut.
No,
want to
Knut's
say
married. Knut is married. He understands what marriage is about. That's what happened.
right.
Jesus.
That's okay. All right, yeah. I
Yeah.
definitely hope so because Knut, we love Knut. He's welcome on the show anytime. He has very, great input to the Bitcoin discussion. We just happen to
Yeah.
differ on what we see as
That's
Bitcoin's,
true.
being money or not. And what I'm saying, which is clear, and both you and Knut respectfully don't agree with that, is that you won't have any other payment form 10 years from now than Bitcoin.
Oh,
I think
well,
that the misunderstanding that Michael Saylor is saying he's never selling his Bitcoin. Yeah, he's never selling it. He may because he'll still have a revenue which will be in Bitcoin, and then he's using. You don't sell Bitcoin, you use it.
You're going to make a great wife one day, my friend. You're going to make a great wife because you just put words in my mouth. This is what you're saying. You're saying that. No, I'm not
This is
saying
what you
anything.
said. This is what you said. You said you will not use Satoshis as payment for coffee or supermarket shopping. That's what you said. You said that you're saying that people will accept some token, and then
I
the
said
token
you
will
don't.
be used.
What I said was you won't have to. You won't have to use it. I guarantee there's going to be another medium of exchange that they're going to try to tie to Bitcoin. Okay, that's all I'm saying.
Yeah, no, and that's what I'm saying. You're saying I'm saying that you believe that some token will be accept. You're saying that you will not use Satoshi to pay in the supermarket 10 years from now, correct?
Did I ever say that? No, no. I'm
You,
saying I wouldn't have to. I'm saying there will be other options. There will
yeah.
be other options. You won't have to. You can if you want. I'm saying I won't. I won't
Okay.
do it.
So okay, but that's fair enough. That's what you said. You won't, but so you believe that there'll be um, some token that for some magical reason people find to be worth holding instead of Bitcoin, and therefore
No,
the token will be used.
oh, not even a magical reason. Just this is what you will use. There are going to be countries with either CBDCs or whatever, and they're going to promise people is tied to Bitcoin. It won't be, of course. We're back to the fractional reserve lending again. I'm just saying, I will not sell my Bitcoin. Period. Other people will. They
You're
will.
not selling it because there's no more dirty fiat, in my opinion. So
Hey,
and a token, in my opinion, is a dirty
Anders,
fiat.
Anders, big hug here, man.
Puppy,
Big hug. I love you, man. I love you.
I love you. No, I love you more, puppy. I love you
There's
more.
no, there's no way you
Dude,
love me more than I love you. Because
dude,
we're going to Miami conference and we're
yeah.
going to light that shit on fire, aren't we? Yes,
No,
we are.
absolutely. And we hope we see Greki there. We hope we see Knut there. Maybe over a shot or two, Knut and I can have a discussion of which token people will accept. Give me 2 seconds. Just give me 2 seconds here.
I know.
Pardon me.
Well, answer the door. Answer the door.
And I'm back. Look, it doesn't need to be drama at all. And I love you
No.
more than you love me. I just want to put that. That is a fact. You don't know that, but I know that. But yeah, Miami is gonna be and Miami is gonna be amazing for you and I and anyone else who shows up.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask Denver, but
Yeah.
I never got to that. I hope we see Denver there. Greggy hopefully will be able to make it. I know that Sean Stacking will be there. Who else do we know? Some of the boys. We know several of the boys that are coming.
Oh, I want Plan Marcus. Plan Marcus to get there. Already
I'm not
BTC.
sure. Yeah,
I know. It depends on where they are in the world, man.
Yeah, well, they're in UK and in Holland, and there's a long way. So I haven't heard them saying that they're planning to do it, but Princey is planning. Daniel Princey, hoster of the podcast Once Bitten, where he, by the way, interviewed you recently, and that was a great listen. Love to listen to my amazing friend Puppy that I love so much being interviewed on Once Bitten.
Again, Prince started this entire shit show, man. So always have a special place in my heart for him. He's fantastic. What a guy.
Knut, I look forward. You're probably gone by now, but I look forward to see you in Miami. Maybe face to face, we can easier have this discussion. But it doesn't. We don't need to. Give me another 2 seconds. Give me 2
I'll take
seconds.
charge. We're good.
Yeah. I'll be right back. I'm watching you, so don't make an exit scam on me. All right, I'm watching you.
Nope, we're good today, man. We're good. Man, so what's going on in the chat here? Let's see. Go on. I know, I'm watching too. Compelling. Oh, let me try to type.
Okay.
Here we go.
Puppy. Yeah. Oh my God, people are still watching. That must be because you carry it so well, Puppy. No Toxicapia without Puppy. We all know that. And thanks God, I think the chat doesn't even realize if the show is not rolling because they're just having a ball in the chat. Most lit chat in this space. Everybody knows that. Even Satoshi knows that if he's still around.
I've been told today that I am Satoshi, so.
I wrote that actually in the chat. I'm sorry, I doxed you. Puppy is Satoshi Nakamoto. But I kind of, unfortunately, have to wrap it up. I think we had a great discussion with Denver. We threw out some moon juice, and we, I think, have narrowed down what is, the thing we don't agree on, you and I, and that's okay. Bitcoin don't care. Bitcoin will succeed anyway, and we can discuss this further. And we're good. We're good.
I always thought we agreed on everything.
Yeah, and look, I like pink scarves. You like a scarf where it says USA on that. That may be the only thing that we don't fully agree on.
Look,
no, I love your scarf, man. I love your scarf.
Look, man, I'll go pink for you. If you like pink scarves, I'll go pink for you. Whatever.
All I'll say is go back and watch the episode where Camilla Campton was on Toxicapia. The scarf you wore there, that was the scarf of a World War II U.S. bomber. People loved it in the chat. I loved it. Everyone loved it. Everyone and their mother and their dog and their cat and their cousin loved the scarf you're wearing there. So
now I'll find an arm scarf as well.
Yeah. Oh, this scarf, it says USA, so clearly it's armed for the pump. This is armed for the pump. Hey, listen, Puppy, I wanted to continue for 2 hours,
go.
but
I know.
Unfortunately, I can't do it.
Hey, it's okay. The chat knows. They're leaving.
Yeah. So BTC Moon Guy, regarding the heat, I think maybe last time I had 2 guys gang up on me, and I wasn't even allowed to fully answer all the questions. But
that was prison.
It's what we're here for. We're here for finding the truth, and we find that through opening each other's mind. Poppy, unfortunately, I gotta go, but
let's do it.
Wednesday. Can you go Wednesday, or what are we looking at?
I got time Wednesday. Yeah, why not?
Yeah, cool.
Yep, we're good.
Yeah, we are absolutely very good. I'm looking forward to Miami to see you and Knut. Hopefully Daniel Prince coming in from Europe. Hopefully Knut coming in from Europe.
And also Greg Josh. Fuck that guy.
Greg Josh. Yeah, that's what I said. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. So all right. Do you have any final skills, Puppy? Because I gotta close shop, unfortunately. I wanted to continue. How long have we been going? Only 1.5 hours. This is a record short for Toxicapia. It's that, but yeah.
At the end of the day, Hey, Bitcoin's at $50,000, brother. What else to say? We love it. Get ready for 100,000 because it's not coming back down. It's not coming back down. Buy now, or forever hold your peace.
Beautiful. And on that note, careful, which kind of goes along what Pubby just said. Careful holding more value in dirty fiat that you can afford to lose. It's a built-in policy, and they're printing about 30, 40, 50% right now yearly compared to the outstanding amount. And what's important is they're creating an accelerated larger percentage of dirty fiat. And that is what, ladies and gentlemen, fiat currency hyperinflation collapse looks like. We're watching it. So careful with that. I love you, Puppy. I love you more,
too, brother.
and I can't wait. See you on Wednesday. Wednesday confirmed, 11 a.m. PST.
Yeah, we'll do it. Let's see who we can find to jump in. What do you think? Hey, we had Denver. We got Denver and Canute within an hour. So yeah, let's do it.
Absolutely.
All right, man.
Yeah. All right. See you, man. All good. All good from here. All right.
See you, brother. We'll talk soon.
All right. Yeah. Stay in the green room.